Bueno, pues muy buenas.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. It is a pleasure to have you here. Better here than in front of the TV. You can do that any other day. It's better here. Let me introduce you to our guest. We have Steffi Niedelzoll. She's made an amazing documentary. It is called Seven Winters in Teheran. She's been in many festivals, Berlin, etc. We will talk about this. This film is very different from your previous films, Leah. I haven't seen your previous projects, Leah and One Long Summer, but we'll talk about that later. We also have Kateryna. She's a programmer at the Ukrainian Film Week in Madrid. They will introduce themselves. She will be explaining specifically how long she's been organizing this festival. We also have Shabnam Rahimi. I hope I pronounced this properly. You probably know her. She's in a well-known serie here in Spain, La Unidad. I love saying this. She was a boxing champion in Afghanistan. I love saying this. Right now she is pregnant, so we don't want her to fight anybody. And then finally we have Bahia Bencheikh El-Fegoun. I'm not sure I pronounced this properly. She's a director from Algeria. The round table is called Making Films in Time of Conflict. Should this be the title, or maybe we should extend it to how to portray conflict? How can we represent conflict? We've always said that obviously whatever's not documented will be repeated. We seem to be doomed to repeating these conflicts because conflicts continue happening. But with these communication tools, all of these that we have, we seem to be doing worse in terms of communication. We should reflect on the importance of documenting conflict on the one hand, and on the other hand we will be talking about making films in territories or ecosystems where making films can be complicated because your life might be at risk. I would like to start with Steffi. Can you please share your experience with regard to Seven Winters in Teheran? This documentary, when I saw this, I thought, how could she make this?
Able to film that documentary because I was really impressed with all the footage that you have, with all the images. Some of the people that speak in your documentary, they were like, I'm sure that for them was super dangerous to be in the documentary.
Yeah, I mean, the people who speak in the documentary, actually, in one moment I decided everybody who speaks should be out of Iran, because so the whole movie is placed in Iran. Just the father of Rihanna, my main protagonist, he is still in Iran, and he's very conscious about what he can say and what he cannot say, and he also took the risk. But yeah, I had a lot of different material, mainly people inside Iran, while the case, so it's a case about a young woman, Rihanna Jabari. She was 19 years old, and she was nearly raped, and she defended herself against his rapist and stabbed him in self-defense. But this guy was a very powerful person, so he died on the same day, and she was imprisoned and she was sentenced to death. So the whole movie is about this fight, and mainly the family was shooting. So the main core of the material, the family itself was shooting it, and actually they always shot it to show Rihanna when she comes out of the prison what happened. So it had never the purpose of that a movie was made with this material. And then, of course, there's some other material. They are super dangerous to shoot, and this really people inside Iran did for me, and they did it. I mean, they didn't do it for me. They did it for Rihanna and her story because they really wanted that her story is told. So.
Yeah, because I'm going to say this in Spanish now to make sure that everybody got it, because I can see that some people don't have the translation. Steffi ha hecho un documental impresionante.
Steffi has made an amazing documentary, Seven Winters in Teheran. She tells a real case, the story of a girl, 19-year-old. She's almost raped. She stabs him, and she's taken to jail and then condemned to death. So we have family, relatives, lawyers. It is a very, very difficult documentary, and you can see that as the moment comes closer, I don't want to do any spoilers. You can read the press and you can imagine what happens in the end. But
no. How did you come across this story? Because you are not from Iran, you're from Germany, like your reality is very different from the reality of your main character.
Yeah.
Can you please let us know how this whole thing happened?
Yeah, it was a total accident. I had an Iranian partner, so I always say it starts with love, because I fall in love with an Iranian man. And over him I got to know in 2016 family members of Rihanna in Istanbul. And they had a hard drive with this secretly shot footage. And I remember this case, so I was very interested in it, and I had a lot of questions. So in one moment they asked me if I want to do a movie with this material, because actually they could not find, I mean, you know by yourself that Iran is one of the biggest cineastic countries in the world. So, but they could not find someone who is touching this topic and working with this material from inside Iran, but also exiled Iranians. They at least didn't find someone who did that. And yeah, as you said, I'm German, I don't speak Persian, I never was in Iran. I also later was never in Iran. So it was a big question of mine, can I do that? How can I do that? But of course, this I think my first entrance was really this sexual violence theme, because it's not the Iranian theme, it's a worldwide theme. So many female and male worldwide are suffering about or because of sexual violence. So I asked them if I can take the material and translate it in Germany. And on this specific day, I met Shole, the mother of Rihanna. And it was a very, very magic, moment for me to meet her. And I already watched some of the material and very hard moments. So I really wanted to hug her, and I felt very close to her. But of course, you have to imagine she was over 8-9 years in this moment already investigated, observed. So of course, she was it was weird for her to, I wanted to hug her, I wanted to be close to her, but for her it was a little bit, what is this German woman doing with me? So, and I just told her, so, okay, you don't know me, but I have the feeling I know you, I want to hug you. And then we just hugged, and something changed, and I think, somehow just two women hugged each other, and it went to a total different layer. So a different layer was coming up. So it was just this, she opened up and I just listened, and then I thought, okay, so this I can do, or with her on my side, I'm brave enough to try it at least. So.
Did you know the outcome of your main character when you started shooting? I mean, when you started the documentary, everything had
Yeah, it was
already
already.
happened?
I mean, so I can. It's not spoiling the movie because
Okay.
everybody knows it. Rihanna Jabari was hanged in 2014. So, and I started to work on this movie 2017. I decided, so it was already, close to 3 years where she was murdered. So I knew the story, and it was clear what I'm. You know, when I say yes to do this movie, that I go through a massive human rights case, to a lot of violence, and in this I saw already parts of the footage, and yeah, we're speaking about sexual violence, torture, etc.
You know, I don't want to make it so specific
Yeah.
about the film, but the film is, I can tell you, because for me it's not just about how somebody that is trying to defend yourself, 19-year-old versus this guy, and you know, it's not only about that, but it's that she could have been safe if the son of the victim would have given her would have given her some sort of like pardon, you know, some sort of like mercy. But the guy said no, you know, in cold blood. It's very, for me, that was very, woof.
Yeah, and I think it fits to the topic because it's a specific law in Iran, so it's based on the Sharia law, and it's like blood revenge is this retaliation law, and I think it's this movie creates really awareness of this way of death penalty and a lot of people, they just don't know. I mean. Of course, nowadays, because of the Iranian revolution, a lot of people are aware of the systematic oppression of women in Iran. But so this specific law, so a lot of people don't know. And I try to raise awareness for this topic also, and that so many people are right now executed in Iran. So it's every 8 hours. In October, 78 people were killed in Iran with death penalty. So we are speaking about more people than in this room in 1 month. So and I think this is what this is the beauty for me of, or I learned it because it's my first feature documentary, how strong also cinema is, and that we can at least create this awareness and ask for solidarity and humanity. So,
Okay.
but I'm so interested.
We'll go back now because I'm sorry, but you were the first one. But I have to say that when I saw the documentary, it took me like some time, like a couple of hours, to be able to stabilize my blood pressure and everything, you know, because I was so touched by that reality, you know.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that.
No, I think you did an amazing job. At first, because I haven't read your name. You know, we watch the films for the festival, we select them, blah blah blah, and of course I have like, and I just read the title. For some reason, I thought it was by an Iranian woman. And then it was like, how brave and how, you know, interesting to be able to tell that story, you know? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anyway, Kateryna, tell us a little bit, what is it? Of course, you do a festival of Ukrainian films in Madrid. Tell us a little bit what kind of films, you know, what is the aim of the festival? What kind of films are you more attracted to? Is that just the films that you are able to have? Explain us a little bit what is your festival about. En español, si quieres, como quieras.
You can talk in Spanish if you want. Inviting and present a little bit my activities here. I will start from maybe personal things in the beginning because I came here to Spain, to Madrid in 2022 in April because of the conflict in Ukraine. Okay, so it's not conflict, it's war. War in Ukraine, and of course I should do start myself basically from zero and try to understand what I can do in another country. In Ukraine, I used to be a film producer. I produce films, which in one day all productions were stopped. Nobody needs this kind of topics because we were shooting films more about also LGBT team, women team, so something that, so focus totally changed, so all life changed 180 degrees. And here, this is the first thing that we could do. Okay, let's tell the world about Ukrainian cinema, because I'm sure here that, okay, it's interesting actually. Do you know some Ukrainian films? Who knows? I do. Okay, who knows from audience? Okay, the small quiz. Okay, Ukrainians don't answer.
We had one last year here in our festival, by the way.
Yes, this is actually how I met Carlota. And thank you for invitation for this round table. We decided that we should tell now the world that we had Soviet cinema. But Soviet cinema, it's not only Russian cinema, as a lot of people are thinking. This is also Ukrainian cinema, Estonian cinema, Georgian cinema. So all republics which was in this big, scary country. We selected the best films which took 100 years of the history of cinema, starting from black and white silent movies and to the festival hits, like one of them was Klondike, which Carlota was showing last year during the Festival Cine por Mujeres. We decided just with this goal to show people our culture with Ukrainian language, with Ukrainian traditions, with Ukrainian talents. And this was my, oh my God, English, like my participation to fight this war. And afterwards, our festival, by the way, called Semana del Cine Ucraniano. So it's Week of Ukrainian Cinema, and we have a page in Instagram also which calls the same Semana del Cine Ucraniano, so you can follow. I'm telling there in Spanish about Ukrainian films and about our events, what we are doing here. Also after this, this festival inspired us to open association here, which calls UFACE. It's abbreviatura from Ukrainians for Art, Culture and Education. And we are trying now to build a bridge between Ukrainian culture and Spanish culture and the third countries. We have a couple of projects which combine different talents from different countries in one. For example, one of them we are doing now the screening of one old silent film from 1930, which is a pure masterpiece by Alexander Dovzhenko. It's Ukrainian director. The film calls Earth. And this is film in many charts, one of the greatest films of all times, and one of the favorite of Martin Scorsese or another big director. So we are going to show this movie during our festival with a new music score, which will be live performed with the Spanish orchestra. And music was written by my lovely husband, Luke Corradine, who is Italian. And with this way we are combining many different cultures in one. And I hope that it will be great event. You are all welcome to visit.
Can you please repeat the name of the film? I don't know how come I haven't... Earth?
Earth, terra.
Okay, okay, Earth,
La
okay.
terra,
Yeah, Terra, Earth, okay.
la tierra. Tierra.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I don't
Земля, українською, in Ukrainian, земля.
Okay, thank you so much.
We are going to do some presentation next month in Vigo, and after this we will do in Madrid. I don't know when. We are looking for a beautiful location, and once we have it, we are ready to start.
Okay, bueno, good.
Just a little bit.
No, great. Now after this first round, we'll get deep into the subject. Shabnam, I did it right. Okay, tell us a little bit, how do you go from being a professional boxer in Afghanistan to become a TV star in Spain? Can you please let us know that? How, I mean, what a trip, no? En español, perdona.
No pasa nada, ya lo entendí.
Lo entendiste, ¿no?
I'm asking her how she went from being a boxing champion in Afghanistan to becoming a film star in Spain. It was quite a journey, wasn't it? Indeed, my name is Shabnam Rahimi. I have been living in Spain for almost 6 years now, and I feel that Spain is my country. I am growing here, and I think that from being a boxer to becoming an actress, these are totally different journeys. When they ask me how did this happen, I always say that I have never learned how to become an actress, but when I was chosen as a protagonist in this series, I could not imagine that this was going to be a real series that was shot for 2 years, and the part of the history that this reflects about the fall of the Taliban was very tough for me. When you hear the story of people leaving their countries behind, fleeing, losing their children, seeing the death of many people for them to be saved, and when this doesn't have a happy ending, that was very tough. But now I have become an actress, and we are now preparing another documentary as well, and I'm also writing as well, so let's see what comes out of this. Well, that's very nice, because I have seen that you have participated in a documentary, Boxing for Freedom, and you were a camera operator as well. So you were shooting as a camera operator in a documentary shot in Afghanistan about boxing. Forgive me, my headset does not fit exactly well. Yes, to work as a camera operator in my country, for a girl, this is very difficult. My country is a sexist country. They don't like women to work. And least of all, in an environment such as this, working with refugees, holding a camera. And we shot this documentary over 3 years, and this tells the story of how we started into boxing, the way women live there, the women in my family, how we lived. And this was quite a difficult experience, but we finally managed to shoot it, and people, the audience liked the documentary, and they have invited us to come to Spain, and after that we came to present this movie here, and we stayed. Thank you so much for being here. Here is our last guest. Her name is Bahia Bencheikh El-Fegoun. She is an Algerian movie maker. She is working on another movie, which she has a grant from Casa Velázquez in Madrid. She's living in Madrid. I have seen her 2 documentaries, and I think that as should be compulsory in all film schools around the world, in all schools around the world. I truly believe so. I find it funny because you were actually a geologist, and how did you move from being a geologist to shooting a documentary such as what made you take this leap, and what made you shoot this brave documentary? The truth is,
Yeah.
So I started in the edition, in the writing, and after that I went to the cinema, but it was totally by accident. I first worked as assistant director,
Okay.
then in fiction, and then I came to the documentary. And I think it was something natural that as a woman living in Algeria, but also as woman, my first topic was speaking about women. And I think the fact that the film was made with characters near, that was really near from me, was helping, but not... It was also the fact that I was speaking about something I was living in this country, in my city, in my body, with my people. And as we saw, some years later came this huge Me Too, and we saw how many all women. In fact, the problem wasn't an Algerian problem or a Muslim problem or a Mediterranean problem. We just saw that it was a women's problem. The violences we live in the family, in the public space, in our body, and it was something natural, I can say. And for the second one, which was not easy at all to make because it was about activists in Algeria after the Arab Springs. After all these revolutions in those countries next Algeria, and how we was dealing with this, and I think that the fact that I was pregnant, 7 months, my belly was like that, really helped me. I don't know if it was a superstitious thing about police, about the people, and really all the doors were opened. I don't know how. It was hard because it was 3,500 kilometers I made in the car, and it was not really easy at all to film all those activists that was qui étaient suivis par la police.
Yes.
And bon, by the way, the film was censored a year after, but it also, I think, I don't know why, when I'm working, always I think of the fear, but it's something that I think that my movies don't speak about fear, they speak about courage and how people face their reality, which is, I think, the fact that we all the human beings need to make choices in their life is always hard. It's always difficult, and we always pay the price. And if you are a woman, a young woman, or if you are an activist, or if you are, of course it depends. We are not in the war, but it's always hard, I think, to face your family, to face the society when you are 18th year and you need to go to school and you need to be free and you need to be yourself, I think. So Well, I don't know. I'm a little bit
No. This is a very
away
open.
from
I
the
mean,
question, but
it's very abstract, the whole topic, but it's a very open. This is more like a dialogue, and what is interesting for us is the personal experiences and how that translates into cinema. Anyway, going back to that, like my first specific question for all of you, it's very clear that we need to document conflict with the idea of learning from that, which we don't learn, like, how many books, how many poems, how many, from history, we talk about wars, about heroes, blah, 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 blah. But it seems we never learn, no? My question is, what do each of you think that from a female perspective, telling the story of a conflict, how do you think a female's perspective can help to overcome or to understand better the conflict? Or maybe by representing or portraying victims or that are never portrayed, or maybe like from a different angle, or do you think it's because it's made by a woman, it can have a different impact than, documenting a conflict by a man? Maybe not. I'm just asking the question. I mean, what do you think is different when a female documents a conflict?
Maybe I will not répondre to your question.
Yes.
But for me, just to see movies nowadays made by women about women, just change the perspective. It's. I know that for my first documentary, which was about women, I didn't have this question in my mind. Now I have it totally. I know that I want to work only with women. I think it's also important as a filmmaker to make women work also, because for my first films I had men that in the crew, not for the late one. Also, I think that c'est difficile. Je peux parler en français?
Tu peux parler. Est-ce que nous avons une traduction en espagnol? Oui, oui. Tu peux parler en français. Oui.
En fait, je crois qu'il ne.
We shouldn't think that only because we are women, we have a feminine outlook. This is not real. I think that there is a fine line. On the other hand, I think that when we
quand on est consciente,
we are at a different level. I don't know if this is clear.
Of course, we need to say the world, to say our world, and I think that will change things by this way. Bon, voilà.
Okay, because yeah.
Dime, porfa.
No, claro, que un poco la
toda la
cuestión de que la historia se repite, ¿no?
It's about this idea of going back again and again in a loop in history. We say that it's the winners who tell the story, but it's at the same time the losers who tell the stories. If we think about Virgil or Homer, this is the same story. And my question really meant that if we narrate the story, the history from a female's perspective, are we adding anything to the debate? Can we add something else, something more?
Es que las mujeres que, bueno, todas que estamos repitiendo.
You tell us about how we go back in circles, and as our colleague has said, I think that she explains it very well. I think that women are the mothers of the world. Without women, there's nothing. No men, nothing. and women are showing the world that with women, men, everyone can grow. There. I don't know exactly how to explain this, that women are a big part of Earth. Muslims have a great respect of women, and despite the fact that we keep repeating history, we do not really learn. When we say that women are powerful, the world is not listening. And men are changing the narrative about women. It is very hard for me to explain. I think that women are really in the know.
Yes, has hecho un esfuerzo.
Thank you for your efforts in trying to explain this. Thank you. Steffi?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think we want to that people are learning, audiences learning about, or when you read a book and so on. But I think first it's also important to document it. I think that's the first step. So I think already the act of documenting it or telling the story, so having it as a document, it's important. And I think it's very simple for me because I think it's very important that also male have the perspective, but it's kind of half of the percentage of in the world of female, and there's so little movies with female director in comparison with men. So somehow I think there's a big perspective missing. And of course, from not just from women, also from other specific, other marginalisierte Gruppen. I say it now in German. I don't know the English word, but so I think it's just important to also give that we speak up and we just tell our perspective, because I think there's certain things. Also, I'm not speaking now, I'm speaking about from my German perspective. Even there, men cannot understand how it feels to stay in the night at a train station. You know, perhaps nothing happens, but so I think all the women immediately know how we just check who goes in which door, who is there, where's the entrance, where's the exit. You know, it's just these little things. Little daily things, it starts there, and of course it goes to a totally different level, but it starts already there. Men just, they don't know that we're staying there and checking where's the exit. So I think it's a very important perspective, because it shows something about society, and we need to have different views on society. So I think it's something where we can all learn. So,
obviously, we all know this, that in every conflict, it doesn't matter if it is a big war or a riot in a street, women are always much more vulnerable than men.
Yeah, it is, and I really think that it's not just bad for women, it's also bad for men. I think in my movie, I think you can see how a patriarchal society is not just bad for female, it is bad for men. So it also gives a certain pressure on men. They have also to fulfill things. And I think the world is much better without this patriarchal society. So I think we have all men and women have to fight against it. So that's, I'm very sure about it.
Okay, and this is a question that has to do, regardless whether if you're a man or a woman, but I think it's interesting because it's Perdón, que me hago. Bueno, que independientemente de...
Regardless of the fact that you're a man or a woman, when you document a conflict, you take a viewpoint. It is very difficult to be neutral, to understand the position of the other. Do you believe that it is possible to document a conflict without taking sides? Can you document a conflict trying to be as neutral as possible? Is it really worth it to document a conflict trying to keep neutral? I don't think so, but what do you think?
Not to take sides? Or is interesting possible, interesting?
I don't know. I think it depends very much which form you are using or what you really, what you want. So I think, we know all that every form of cinema, every form of literature is always changing. We always put ourselves somehow in. It's always our perspective. The one who creates always takes a perspective. We can try to be balanced out or neutral also. We can try it, but nevertheless, it's always when I do the movie, it's my view. When she does the movie, it's her view. So I think it's utopic to think that you can be totally objective or so. But I think you can try it, but it depends what you want to tell, and I think it's always about what we want to tell and how we want to tell it and how we want to receive it, and that's and we can just contemplate about these three points and then take a decision. So I don't know. I did in my movie, I take somehow a side, so because I think that's the narrative I want to tell. With this I connect. I think that's important to say. So I take a side, but it's also very obvious that I do that. I think that's the important thing. The problem is if you manipulate. The problem if you pretend that it's balanced out, but it's not, and you are manipulating. But as long as you are very clear and obvious, I think it's I think it's very beautiful also to take a side. I think it's important also to take a side, but you can try to be not to take a side. It's your decision.
I don't think you're true there. Yes, not even. And of course, let's not forget that we are talking about something that is intentionally, obviously marketed as a creation. As a personal creation. This is not like a newspaper that wants to say, hey, I want to be fair. No, this is a documentary, a piece of work that has been done by somebody, so it's very obvious that it has an angle.
From my perspective, I don't believe at all in objectivity. It doesn't exist. From the moment where you put your camera, you are looking to this reality and you want to speak about this reality. And I think that films are interesting when the more they are personal, the more they are partial and subjective, the more they are interesting. I think that the reality we propose as directors is interesting. Because, as you said, you can document now, the informations are everywhere. And it's not about making news, it's about cinema. And it's also about how we want to tell this story. We could make it as many kind of... we could make many films about one topic. But the more you are near from your point of view, the more you are clear with your point of view, the more the person who will see your movie will be sera à l'aise. And I agree with you when you say we don't have to manipulate and we don't have to lie. This is because when it's clear for everyone, and we know what we are doing here in front of this film, and we can have a reflection during or after, and I think that's the purpose of making documentaries and films in general.
Kateryna, you were going to say something?
Yes, I want to say that, for example, in case of Ukraine, it's actually not possible not to have a side. Of course, we have a side because I'm part of this conflict. Maybe if you don't have no empathy and live in some kind of vacuum, then you can be very neutral to some conflict which is happening very far from you. So in my case, it's just not possible. Of course, we have a side. And to come back to your previous question about difference of shooting films during the conflict, women and men, we have unfortunately a very good experience now, and there is of course big difference because our men are mobilized and they are basically fighting, they are on the war. There is a lot of cinematographers, filmmakers who are fighting. It's already like hundreds of them there, and we already have dozens killed. So unfortunately, there is not one woman cinematographer was killed during this war now. It's only men, yes. So there is difference. They are closer to the conflict. They can document it more closer. For example, now film 20 Days in Mariupol, which was documented by actually correspondent and journalist. Another example of a director who died in Mariupol, Mantas, I will not say his name right, because it's very hard to surname. So he was killed during the shoots, and his film was finished by his wife. So they are more in danger. They are more closer. They can get maybe more interesting from cinematographer point of view footage, but they are in risks more. So women are a little bit farther from the front line, and they can allow to talk about conflict in more artistic way and more metaphoric way, or maybe document something which is happening not on the front line. So in this meaning, I think it's a big difference what men and women are shooting. And now we in that period that we are documenting basically this war. We not shooting almost no fiction films, so it's more documenting, and after some time maybe we will understand how to use this footage in some films. So it's like now people are very cautious to tell something with real documentary or like an art. Yes, so this is my answer.
Okay. Do you ever keep hope that somebody that maybe was not on your side, by watching your work, will be able to change their mind somehow? Do you think you can influence? Not that the purpose of the documentary is to influence, but do you think that?
Of course, for example, what I'm doing, this is pure influence because
propaganda.
Of course, because we were, unfortunately, as Ukrainians, we were never doing good way propaganda of our culture. It was always Russians who were doing propaganda of their cultures, taking a lot of Ukrainian names for themselves. So now our goal and goal of our association to tell the world the difference that this was Ukrainian and this was Ukrainian actor, this was Ukrainian director. So don't call them Soviet and then Soviet immediately understands Russian. So this is the goal, and this is why we are doing this festival. We want to show the best Ukrainian movies, that movies which we are creating now, a lot of shorts also coming, a lot of independent shorts which people just want to express themselves and say something. They are closed. Men now closed, they cannot leave country. So they have much less experience. The life is going. It's already almost 2 years of life where they cannot travel, they cannot communicate with another cinematographers to do some kind of network. This is all influence on psychology, on everything. So, of course, we are trying with our project maximum to influence and change their understanding of this conflict, and also we are trying to find finance and maybe to invite some cinematographer also to Ukrainian cinematographers to Madrid, filmmakers, to do some kind of networking and at least to give them even retreat, psychological help, that to see that somebody, to give them understanding and somebody cares about them. So yeah, this is our mission now, and I think that yes, we are changing something. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. In Afghanistan, we don't have better male filmmakers. During the Dahoud period, when there was an excellent filmmaker, she was wonderful, but little by little, filmmakers left the country and they made unreal things, far from truth. Projects made by women have emotion. And then they write and then they shoot documentaries. We left the country. Taliban was surrounding us, and we could see these attacks. We were direct witnesses of this violence. And we wept and wept and wept. We couldn't say anything. Sukut, homush. But women have to raise their voices. Now there are no female filmmakers, and it's a shame. And we're outside the country, and we try to plant a seed for the future, for future generations. So that they know that we're trying right now. There was a very good filmmakers in the past, but now not many. I think we can now open the Q&A. I don't have a watch. How are we going? We have 20 minutes, I think. Okay, so if you have a question, a comment, an observation that you might want to share, this is what we're here for. First of all, I have to say that if you can, please go and watch the movies by these incredible filmmakers. Very important films. I think that documenting these processes, I haven't seen Boxing for Freedom, I'm sorry, but documenting these processes, I do believe in a certain way, not in a naive way, but I think they do contribute towards an important reflection. And I think that it points us in the right direction towards a better world. I wanted to ask Shabnam about her process regarding requesting asylum in Spain, and what is your life like here in Spain? Thank you for that question. The asylum request, we came here to the country to promote Boxing for Freedom. It was a success. We were here for about a month. We were going to go back to Afghanistan in about a week, and my father said, Talibans are in Kabul. They've knocked on the door several times asking for us, and we were always quite open, saying we don't want the Talibans. My aunt was killed, my uncle was killed, many problems in Afghanistan. We decided to stay in Spain. We submitted our request. Paloma Fabres was our lawyer. She now works abroad. They accepted our asylum request. We didn't know anything about the language, the culture. This was very difficult, quite different. Languages are really different from each other. After about a year, our residence was confirmed. We had a residence permit. We could work. We could have access to housing. Because we had the support of our family, of our father. We were very young. We returned from Iran to Afghanistan, and we taught Afghan girls so that they could learn different things. I was a teacher there. So once I had the resident permit, I could look for a house, a job. I live with my sister. But we had some problems with our family, who was left behind in Afghanistan. They were always killing people, either the Taliban, the police forces, many problems there. So after this process, we filed for the family reunification. This started about 5 years ago. We supported them with money. We were also boxing here in Spain. We were changing our mindsets. We had a lot of energy. And before, in the past, I couldn't talk. But when I got this job, I had new energies, new support. I met many people. There was a part of our family that we were supporting, and about 4 years went by, and it seemed that we couldn't bring our family relatives. In 2021, Taliban's came back. Antonio Pamplega, a Spanish journalist, helped me to be able to bring my family to Spain. My family's here in Spain now. They're living here. They're trying to get used to this country because they left many things behind, their house, their culture. Little by little, they're taking steps. But my father always says, when I die, what will happen to me? And I've been hearing the words bombs, war, for many, many years. Women are being killed in Afghanistan. My mother says I'm fed up with all of this. And here in Spain, I don't hear anything about war or violence or death, and I'm much more calm. The asylum process lasts about a year, 18 months, and once they move forward in this process, once they get their residence permit, they will have peace of mind, I think. But right now, many refugees have come from Afghanistan. They don't have employment. We've created a group of Afghan refugees. We try to support each other. Some lawyers, for instance, are not finding jobs, doctors, so it's a difficult situation. They're happy, they've escaped, they've saved their lives, so that's important. Hello, my name is Sofia. My question is for Kateryna. It is difficult for me to ask it. I'm a filmmaker from Ukraine. I live here. I've been living here for 5 years. I studied Spanish at school, and I'm here studying filmmaking. And it's difficult to think or to feel, considering that you learnt how to make films here in Spain, but you're Ukrainian, you are from there. Do you feel that you're entitled to make films about what is happening there? I feel that I don't live there. I haven't lived there for 5 years. I don't share that same reality. When I came here, I had the feeling that I wanted to speak up. I wanted to make many projects, but with the war, you're in shock and you think that nothing can be more important than that. You are Ukrainian, you should be entitled, but you're speaking Spanish and you are here and not there. So it is a weird feeling. You don't really belong and you're not being objective. Are you entitled to tell the story? So I share the pain. But what is your opinion on this? Us, abroad, filmmakers, will they start reflecting on what is happening if the majority of documentaries are being shot there? I have many friends, filmmakers there, and they seem to be entitled to do so, and I'm not. But there are many other topics that we can talk about. But how can we talk about these other things if the war is happening?
I can answer.
¿Has entendido lo que ha dicho, verdad? Sí.
Did you understand well the question?
Listen in translation.
Okay,
I guess that I understood. If I don't yet explain me. So what I want to say that personally, what happened to me after the war started in March 22. I went to one film festival and I understood that I cannot watch movies. This is my profession. I need to watch movies. So more than normal movies, it was beginning of April 22. I just couldn't watch no one single frame because everything seems for me so fake. I had already my Telegram channels about what's happening in reality. So I just, if you heard about Bucha, Irpin, what happened that time in these cities, this is small cities near the Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. All this started to come to Telegram channels, and we just couldn't believe that violence, that crimes would happen, and that like people who you know, basically how they were suffering and what they survived. So I was watching on this reality, and I was understanding that any film now, like I'm talking about fiction, of course, it's like just nothing. It's like no drama. I was quite stressed, and I didn't know how I will move with my films because I had absolutely not war topics with my productions. And honestly, you know what saved me? It's old films. I started to go and watch old, not only Ukrainian films, but world masterpieces, which maybe I never had a time. We all don't have a time to watch some good films. So I started to study history of cinema and slowly go to something that I always wanted to watch and I didn't have a time. And that saved me because the topics which was in that films, they were not related to nowadays. There was something which people were living like 70 years ago, and that gave this kind of, you know, that we are already far. But modern films, I don't know, even now sometimes I'm very hard to watch modern films because I don't understand how people can shoot films about some beautiful topic when that violence happens in the world. So it's like, I have this feeling inside. But of course, this is psychological problem maybe, which you should try to treat, and I treated with these things, with the old films. But also about how to find yourself. This is the problem. This is not the problem to find the topic and reflect the war. This is the problem of every immigrant. I think here we will never have a place, your place. You already not belong there, and you still not belong here, and it will be always this conflict. So I think you just should to go somehow upper on it and shoot what is troubling you, what is inside you, how it is. Like you are here, Ukrainian, you are like maybe in the middle, and find beauty in this, because you can tell maybe something even more than the person who belongs only to one place. Already your view is more richer or bigger. You can look at the problem from different perspectives, just to find your pain, what you want to, even not like this, something that you cannot not to share to the world. I had my acting experience also. I finished acting drama school in Ukraine, and this is what my teachers was always telling me: don't go to the stage if you cannot not to say something, not to be there. So just if you hesitate, just not to be there, you just cannot not to tell. You need to tell this. You are taking camera and you're going and you are doing this, whatever it is. So this is, I guess it's right.
Completamente lo comparto y.
Yes, 100%. I fully share this.
To not to be only centered in such an important conflict for you, you know, it is okay not to talk about that all the time. I know it's very hard to say that, but you know, I think that, and it's a process. Maybe you come to terms with your angle, you know.
Yeah, with your perspective, what you feel, how you are. When I came here, I also had the idea to shoot a film, like my first direction film, because I have this feeling that one day I will direct film. I know this, and I had this idea about strong women who came to a different country, to different city, who is talented, who has some kind of skills, and she was forced to move from her town to come here because of the war. And I started to develop this idea, and actually the script came out, so it should to be short film. But then, of course, like a lot of different problems, and I wanted one particular actress who couldn't act, and then this, that, you know, these production things. So, but that was reflecting actually what I felt. I couldn't go and shoot about the shootings and the war. I'm not there. I'm not losing contact with Ukraine. Every half a year I'm going for 2-3 weeks to Ukraine, so I'm still there. I keep contact with all my filmmakers and environment and family, but still I'm here. I don't experience what they experience, so I was trying to talk from my point of view, what I feel here when I came here and how I perceive the world. So this is, I think, you should go to that direction, think.
Дякую.
We should have brought some vodka to be more happy.
Vodka,
at the
this
end.
is a Russian drink.
Sorry.
We have a
different. Sorry, you see my lack of knowledge with Ukrainian
yes.
spirits.
We can drink sangria. It's okay. Yes.
I will
baby,
teach you
drink.
Ukrainian.
I know.
Ukrainian
I know it gives headache. I know.
Ukrainian national alcoholic drink, like vodka, it's horilka. So
Okay.
now you know.
So let the Rolinka roll.
Creo que lo que estaba contando Kateryna respecto a la...
I believe that what Kateryna was saying regarding Ukraine and the culture of the country is a very serious issue, because you need to rewrite your whole cultural history again now, based upon this independence from what the USSR used to be, because for the rest of the world, the Soviet culture included the Ukrainian culture. And in this regard, there was an excellent exhibition in the Thyssen Museum about Ukrainian painting. It was a diachronic view of the Ukrainian painting from the medieval times until the avant-garde. And for us who have studied the history of art, those painters we thought they were Russian. And you started telling us, no, they were not Russian, they were Ukrainian. But those things that you did with the painting, you need to do with literature, with cinema. That is to say, you need to rewrite history and the past of your own country. And it is a huge task ahead. And I believe that with your festival, this is partly what you're trying to do.
Is this a question? No, it's a comment. Okay.
Es un comentario que estabas comentando.
No, it's just a comment. Since you were talking about cinema, but I think this could be applied to all artistic disciplines.
And as we are always saying, we are Ukrainians, we are trying to find who we are, because we don't know. We were so polluted by this Soviet regime that sometimes we don't know where we belong. Unfortunately, we speak two languages. It's unfortunately in that way that Russian language is also my native language. So I cannot remove this part from my life. We are all very blended, but also it's needed to be said that Russian propaganda was very strong, and they were taking a lot of Ukrainian talents, how I said before, for their side, and this is what we can do now. We can explain people what in that huge, big Soviet machine was Ukrainian, what was Russian, what was another republic. So, because we all have different traditions, we have different language, we have even different culture. Slowly, maybe it's hard for you, for Spanish people, I know, to understand, but slowly you will feel these differences between Ukrainian and Russians, for example. So yes, we have big task now to separate this, how to say, differentiate, and also to find. Because what do you think? We also Ukrainians, we maybe don't know what we have. Sometimes we are finding something. We have another beautiful old film that, for example, we recovered, and we are trying now to do a restoration for this film. It calls Night Coachman. It's from 1898, and we were premiered last year with this film, our festival in Cine, also with the live music, with the live scoring. That was fantastic. So now we have a goal. We found this film. It's in bad condition, and there is a possibility to restore this film. So we are also trying to find now budget and bring it not only for in Europe, to bring it for ourselves, also to bring it to human, because it's our now culture heritage for everybody, these films. So yeah, it's a lot of work. Thank you for support.
Bueno, ¿tenéis alguna pregunta más, alguien?
Does anybody have a question from the audience? The last thing then that I would like to say is that I hope that this conversation will be, in time, we will be able to say that there are no conflicts, at least there are no wars, that there are conflicts maybe among people, but never among peoples. And I want to support you in keep working and helping us to move forward.
Only small conflicts.